A report came out yesterday saying that Clarence Thomas is considering stepping down from his position on the Supreme Court after the November election. Now, his wife is saying today that it's not true, but these reports don't come out of anywhere. And if it is true, if he is going to leave, then there is an opportunity opening up on the court, the likes of which hasn't existed during my living memory, probably during your living memory either. Now, Antonin Scalia already died. That position is open. President Obama is trying to fill it with Merrick Garland, but so far unsuccessfully. And so, going into this election, we already have a Supreme Court seat not just likely to open up in the next couple of years, but already waiting, which is already by itself an amazing opportunity for whoever becomes the president. But now, if Clarence Thomas, one of the most annoyingly conservative and silent past loving, tradition upholding Supreme Court justice in probably the history of the court, if those two seats are waiting to be opened by the time the next president gets sworn in, you could, if you were liberal, if you were progressive, move the court into a progressive position that it has literally never been in before. More liberal, more able to make a positive change in the world than possibly even the Supreme Court of Thurgood Marshall. Now, that's not even to consider the possibility of if Ruth Bader Ginsburg actually were to step down, and she is, of course, getting on the older side of things. Now, during any 4-year period, and especially during an 8-year period of a presidency, there's a good chance that you will get a spot. But we're not even really talking about those. We're talking about one guaranteed, one that looks likely, and now another with Ruth Bader Ginsburg where it might happen that she steps down. I don't think that a president has ever had a more important Supreme Court set of decisions to make. Now, think about the court that we've had over the past 10 years. Think about some of the decisions that could have gone differently if even just one vote had been different. Now, imagine if 2 of the most conservative votes on all of those laws had been different. Think about the Heller decisions, Citizens United, environmental legislation, Obamacare, or legislation, judicial rulings, the Obamacare. All of these different topics could have been drastically different if those spots had been filled by liberals. Even if not the most liberal Supreme Court justices, simply not being insane 1790s conservatives, believing that they know exactly what the founders were thinking when they wrote these pieces of the Constitution and legislation. I mean, this is an incredibly important opportunity. And we don't know for sure that Clarence Thomas actually is going to step down, and certainly depending on who wins, that might affect his decision. But that's a guy who, for all we know, is suffering from some rare disease and just isn't able to talk about it since he never actually physically speaks. This is just so important. Now, look, that doesn't mean that who you vote for should be solely determined by this, but to the extent that our presidential choice is always shaped by fears about the Supreme Court, it has never been this pressing, this real, and the opportunities ahead of us are impossible to fully comprehend when it comes to women's rights and gay rights and healthcare and climate change and gun control. All of these issues could be decided. In the next 4 years, the fate of the court for literally decades could be written. And it's going to be amazing to see how that shapes out.